We are looking at malloc and free today. Alright, I welcome you to this channel. Please support us with your likes and subscription to keep us going. Alright, I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to do a detailed explanation of what this project is all about. Alright, um, first we are going to look through the project instructions and the resources here. Okay, so first, these are the requirements. All right, please endeavor to go through them. It's very important. This is just three of them, I think. Please look through the project requirements. Then these are the general requirements for this project. All right, I believe you should be familiar with this by now. You have a readme file. Your code will be tested with Betty. Okay, then you only standard the only C standard library function allowed and malloc and free. Then you're not allowed to use putf, putcalloc and reloc, putchar. Then you don't have to push putchar. We use our file. If alright, then you have a main.h. Okay, alright. Okay, so this is what you should do in the requirement, the instructions you are going to follow. Okay, uh, I'll be doing a little explanation actually before we jump into solving the project tasks. But before then, because you still have challenges with your quiz questions, I'm just going to expand this. All right, so that we can look through together, so that we can look through and solve them together. So for the first one, question 0, it said how many bytes will this statement allocate? Malloc, then size of int. This is a pointer to 4. All right, first I want you to understand something. Okay, because this will be very important in what you are going to be doing here. You should understand that character should understand that car the size of car or char, as the case may be, any name you prefer to call it, is what is 1 byte. Okay, this is 1 byte. This is very important in what you are going to be doing here. Then again, we come across the integer. Okay, we come across the int, and again you should know that int is equal to 4 bytes. All right, int is equals to 4 bytes. Int stands for integer, by the way. Then you have float. You might not have that here, but let me just include it. Float is also what? Is also 4 bytes. All right, so I believe these two one and this will be very important in what you are going to be doing here now. Okay, so it said how many bytes will this statement allocate? Malloc size of int. So what is the size of an int here? Int is how many? Is 4 bytes, right? As you can see, we wrote it here. So we have, if an int is 4, then this is a pointer to this integer. So you simply multiply the size of an int, which is 4, by this 4. That will give you what? That will give you 16. All right, that is how we got 16 there. Then here it said how many bytes will this statement allocate? Malloc 10. All right, malloc 10. Since they didn't attach any of this value here, they didn't attach any yeah, either character it or float, so you simply, the size of malloc 10 will be um the value that is put inside this bracket. All right, and that will be what will be 10 that is there. Okay, then how many bytes will this statement allocate? Malloc size of char times pointer to 10 plus 1. So how many, what will this statement allocate? Character, what is the size of character? Like I put here, that would be what? 1 byte. Char is what? 1 byte. So 1 multiplied by 10 will give you what? 10. Then you have a plus 1 here. That is how we got this level. All right, so if we have 1 here, let me illustrate that. I can see that clearly. This is 1, right? Char is what? 1 byte. Then you have a times here. That is a pointer though. 10. 1 times 10 is what? Would be 10. Then plus what? Plus 1 that you have here. Plus 1 will give you a total of what? 11. So the size, the bytes allocated to this statement, or that will be allocated to this statement, is what? 11 bytes. So please understand that is very important. All right, so let's move on. Let me just remove this. Okay, so for the third one, it said how many bytes will this statement allocate? Malloc size of an int, pointer to 10. All right, pointer to 10. So malloc, what is an int? An integer is how many bytes? That's 4 bytes. Okay, so if you put 4 here multiplied by this 10, we give you what? We give you 40 bytes. So that is how we got 40 bytes. All right, so 4, how many bytes will this statement allocate? Malloc size of character, then pointer to 10. So what is the size of character? That's 1 byte. All right, so if you put 1 here multiplied by 10, that will give you what? 10. So that's how we arrived at this. Believe you are following what I'm explaining here. Is very important. Then how many bytes with this allocate? Malloc size of an unsigned int. Okay, both unsigned int, signed int, and all, they all carry how many? 4 bytes. They are all 4 bytes. So this unsigned int is also unsigned integer. It's also 4 bytes. So that will be 4. This one is 4. So the 4 here multiplied by this 2 will give us what? Will give us 8 bytes, the one you have here. So that is how we arrive at that. All right, that is how we got that 8 bytes. Okay, then what is Vagrant? All right, Vagrant, it is a program to validate memory allocation. All right, that's the role of Vagrant. You can actually browse more. You can get more information about that. All right, you can get more information about that. So with what has been said, I believe that this quiz, you will, apart from solving it, you understand how we arrive at these answers. Is very important. Okay, we understand how we got what we got. All right, so have we done that? The next thing I want to do right now is to move and give a brief explanation on malloc and free. Okay, so that's what I'll be doing right away. All right, malloc and free. So I'm looking through this. Malloc function is used to allocate a certain amount of memory during the execution of a program. Like when you declare your variable, all right, during a variable declaration, and when you have a string, all right, then the operating system will reserve the the memory that has been requested to accommodate those variables that has been declared. So when the amount of memory is not needed anymore, then you can return it to the operating system by calling the function free. So for malloc function is used to allocate memory, okay, during execution of what, of a program. So once the function is called, that memory is allocated to those variables. Okay, so memory are allocated when you declare variable, or when you use, this is supposed to be used when you use strings within double quotes. So that is memory allocated when you declare variables or when you use strings within double quote. So there are also two concepts here we need to understand, that is automatic allocation and dynamic allocation. There are a lot of information about this, but I just want to hint on it. You can read more about this later. All right, so when we talk about automatic allocation, it has what, read only permission. That this kind of memory has read only permission, as compared to dynamic, or in contrast, a dynamic allocation have read and write permission. Okay, that means for dynamic you can make changes, it can take in input, while for automatic it cannot accept input. It is what it has in the string, or in the program, in the variable, the what will be declared, that is what it carry. It cannot take any other input. So that is what malloc and free talks about. All right, that's what malloc and free talks about. So I believe that you have a basic knowledge about this now. All right, so let me just close this down. So have we done that? The next thing is to start to jump into our tasks, create the necessary files, and start cracking them. I believe you are ready for that. All right, so let me just hide this quiz. Okay, so I will, let me split my screen. So we are going to get a web terminal. All right, so I'll cd to be sure I'm in the root directory. Okay, I'm very sure I'm in the root, so I'm going to cd into the ALX. I'll just copy this here, Ctrl C, CD, then Ctrl AV into LX, low level programming. Then the next is to create this directory. So I'll just go on and copy, Ctrl C, I'll come here. So the next step, I believe you already know, mkdir make directory, Ctrl AV, you paste. Though I have made this directory, that's where it's going to throw up an error, or alright, cannot create because it has been created. If you follow this, you are going to create this directory, mkdir the directory name. So since they said I have that directory already, I'm going to cd into that directory. Alright, so you see I'm now in this 0 times 0b malloc and free directory. Alright, so the next thing is to create my required files and jump into solving the task. Alright, to create the required files and jump into solving the task. What are those files that we need right now. We need to create the readme file. If you look through the instructions again, you discover that there's a readme file at the root of the folder of this project. Look at it here. You have a readme file, then you have underscore pucha file. Okay, underscore pucha. Look at it. If you click on this, yes, it's going to bring this up. All right, which you invariably put into your underscore pucha file, though that file should not be pushed to the remote. You don't have to push this file, this underscore pucha file, to the remote repo. Okay, so let's just start doing that. So for the readme, as you already know, what we do is to copy the file this is not moving. Okay, just a second. All right, so what we do for the readme, like you are aware, we copy the names here, the task questions here, copy them and put them into the readme file. So I'm just going to put that so that you can see. So you do vi to create the readme file. You do vi, you do readme, you do readme dot md. So you press tab. All right, so this should be the content of this readme. Okay, all right, so if you copy all the task names, it's going to give you the task questions. That's what we have here. Just copy and paste them here, or you can copy them individually, put into your notepad, all right, and paste them in your readme. Okay, so that's what we just did here. So once you are done with that, after pasting, you can do your escape, then column WQ. All right, you save and quit and press enter. All right, so once you are done with that, you save, quit, and you exit. So you now have your readme file. So after creating your readme, then you need to create another file, which is main.h. all right, main.h. If you look through the requirement, that is there, main.h file, and don't forget to push that to the remote repo. So to create your main.h file, meanwhile, the source code, the document will be left in the description to this video. All right, in case you have a challenge, the source code or the document will be left in the description section of this video, so you can just grab it there and use. All right, so to create your main.h, you do vi main.h, you press enter. So this is the content of your main.h. all right, this is the content of your main.h. Everything you have here, apart from this, which is our integer underscore pucha file, underscore pucha prototype, the others we are gotten from here. All right, you find the prototypes. Let me show you. Okay, you see, this is the first one there. All right, this is the first prototype. Then when you move down, you have this for the second one. this is the second prototype. Okay, so you can just go ahead and copy the prototypes. So this for this is the third one that you have there. So this is where they were gotten from. It's not rocket science. Then copy this. This is the next one. Then you have this. So that is how they were gotten. So copy and paste them. Paste there. At the end of the day, you now do your have your hashtag, then end if. So once you are done, you can now do your escape column WQ. All right. So you now have, once you are able to you compile, once you are done compiling that file, you now have your main.h file. You now have your main.h file. So remember, we are supposed to push our main.h to the remote repo. So you do git add dot, you press enter. Okay, if I press enter now, do git commit. We are trying to remember, we are pushing our main.h. Commit message be the name of the file we are pushing, main.h. all right, so that's what we have there. I already pushed that. I don't want to make changes to my main.h. Once you are done with that, you now do your git git push. You press git push, you press enter. So if you press enter, it will succeed in pushing your main.h file to the remote repository. All right, so that's that. I don't want to push that again. I wanted to show you how that is done. So since you now have your main.h file, okay, the next file you should create is your _pucha file. I already showed that here. The content of your _pucha file is here. Just come here, click here, click this _pucha. Yes, so this is it. So this is the content of your _pucha. So this is the content of your _pucha. So you just come here, you do vi _pucha and press enter. So it will take you to vi terminal, and you are going to put this content in your _pucha. So after doing that, you press your escape column WQ to get out of vi. So once you are done with that, so you put in this content in _pucha file, but you don't have to push your _pucha. It was said in the instruction that you are not, you mustn't push you don't have to push _pucha .c file. Okay, so you create that file. So once you are done, you have created the required files, then you now start to solve the individual tasks. All right, so for the first one, you have float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Write a function that creates an array of cars of characters and initializes it with a specific car. So this is a prototype, like we said before. You're going to put that one of the content of your main.h file. Okay, so what you do here now is to copy this. You copy your file name using Ctrl+C. You come here, you do vi Ctrl+AV, you paste in your file name. So if I press enter, so it's going to show the content of this file. All right, we are including this header, we are including the main.h and the standard library header. These are comment section. Okay, Then this is our function. This is our function. All right. So this is the function that helps to um, this is the function that helps to create an array of characters and initializes it with a specific specific character. So this is the function that does that. All right. Again, this is the name of our function. This is our function name. Okay. So our function is returning character this time. Now we have been working with functions that return integers. This will return a character, a char. Then this is the argument, the function, the argument of this function, or you can also call it the parameters. All right, this one is side bracket. So at the function declaration, then this, what the function does. All right, so that is that. I believe you should have a basic understanding of what we are doing, or what we have said. All right, so once you are done with this, after putting in this content, you can do your escape. All right, do your escape, column WQ. All right, and press enter. So have you done that? You can now check with Betty to be sure that what you did was correct. Okay, so you do Betty file name. So Betty will check your file, all right, to be sure that it's Betty compliant and follow Betty documentation style. So after checking, Betty return that this file has no problem. The file is Betty compliant and follow the Betty documentation. So once you are done with that, you can now do your git add, do your dots, press enter, you do your git commit -m, your commit message, course the file name, you press enter. Once you are done with that, you can now come back here and do your git what? You do your git push. Once you are done with that, you press enter to push the code to the remote repository. So if you are done, that means you have completed the first steps. Then you can now come here to check your code. So once you are done with that, you run your check. All right, so if you follow the exam same step, yours too you will get it all ticked. It will be correct like we have here. Okay, so have you done that? You close this and move to the next one. Just do one or two before leave. You can, with the explanation, you can do others. The woman who has no imagination has no wings. Write a function that returns a pointer to a newly allocated space in memory which contains a copy of the string given as a parameter. So this is the prototype, one of the content of your main.h. So this is what you are supposed to do. So you come here, first you copy the file name, come here and copy the file name, Ctrl C, then you come back to your terminal, you do VI, then Ctrl V, press enter. All right, so it will take you here. So this is the content of that file. This is the content of that file. Okay, so once again we are including these headers. We include this standard input output.h, standard library, and main.h. Then this is our comment section. Then this is our function. All right, so this is our function. our function name is this. All right, then this is the argument that this function is taking. Then this function is returning a character. All right, then this is the function declaration. Okay, this is the function declaration. Initialize the I, and arrow is equal to 0. So again, let me hint that once you declare your function, the variable in your function, then you have to give a space. In C, you must give a space. You see this empty line, you have to leave a space. If not, it's going to throw an error. Okay, so this is what you have here. All right, this is what you have here. So like I explained earlier, here you have, if string is exactly null, then return null. Then I that we initialize here, this variable I, is equal to 0. Then while string I in this array is not equal to 0, then increment I once, I plus plus. Then this character AAA equals malloc size of car. Do you know what the size, like what we explained from the beginning? The character is 1 byte. So 1 byte times whatever I is plus 1. Alright, then if AA is exactly null, then return null. And for arrow equals to 0, string array arrow, then this arrow is incremented plus plus once, then AA, which is this array, this variable arrow in this array equals to string array of this array, then return AAA, return this, the value of this. So that is what we have here. Basically that is what you have. So once you are done with this, you do your escape, then column WQ to save and quit. You press enter. Having done that, again you want to check with Betty to be sure that you've done the right thing. So Betty is correct. Betty did not find any error in our code. So our code is Betty compliant and follows the Betty documentation style. So done with that, you can now do your git add dot, you press enter, do your git commit, message, paste that in, you press enter, then you can now do your git push and press enter. So once you are done with that, you can go ahead to run your check your code. So you see it's all correct. So please follow. If you are lost at any point, please go back, replay the video, and it's going to guide you. So that is how you are going to solve the task creating these files. All right, so go ahead and create these files. We already have this. These are the files you need. I believe we created this, then we have solved this and this. Then you create this file, believe you understand how to do that with your vi. Then define name vi to hyphen string underscore concat. concat.c. So you create that, then you put in the content. Again, the document will be left in the description for you to use. All right, so that is how we did the rest of this. All right, that is how we did all of this. Okay, the rest, that is how they were done. All right, so just as a recap, we have said that the malloc function is used to allocate memory, an amount of memory to during the execution of a program. All right, and memory allocated when you declare variable or when you are using string with the double quote. All right, when during variable declaration or when you allocate strings during within double quote, memory, a certain amount of memory is allocated to those variables. All right, that is what malloc does. So when the amount of memory is no longer needed, then it is returned to the operating system by calling the function free. That is what free does. Once you call the by calling the function free, the memory space which is not needed is returned to the operating system. So this is a recap. So leave, then you should have these files. Go ahead and create this file, and the content will be left in the description to this video. All right, so go ahead and do it. You have any challenge or any question whatsoever, you can drop it in the comment section of this video. All right, always I'll be ready to help. Any complaint in this journey, I'll be ready to help. Please continue watching this space. We'll drop similar content like this every now and then, so that to continue to encourage you and push you in your programming journey. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.